Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Pesachim. We are up to Perik Daled Mishnah Vav. Today's Mishnayot should be Leilul Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbayev, Neliyahu ben Burcha Yisraelov, Menuchatam Megan Eden, Amen. The following Mishnah continues to discuss the performance of work on Erev Pesach before midday. Rabbi Meir says, Kol melacha sheitchil bah kodem le-14, any work necessary for Yom Tov that one began before the 14th of Nisan, Erev Pesach, Gomrah be-14, one may finish on the 14th of Nisan before midday, even if he is in a place where the custom is not to perform work on Erev Pesach. The Rav explains, however, work that is not necessary for Yom Tov may not be performed in a place where the custom is not to work, even if it was begun before Erev Pesach. However, in such places, one may not begin work on the 14th of Nisan, even though the work is necessary for Yom Tov and he can finish it before midday. The Rav explains, but in places where the custom is to perform work on Erev Pesach before midday, one may begin even work that is not necessary for Yom Tov. Now, in places where the custom is not to work on Erev Pesach before midday, Rabbi Meir does not allow work to begin under any circumstances. However, the Chachamim contend that there are certain tasks that one may even begin on Erev Pesach before midday. V'Chachamim omrim, the sages say, Shalosh umanuyot osin melacha v'arbe pesachim ad chatzot. 3 craftsmen may perform work on Erev Pesach until midday, meaning they may even begin their work on Erev Pesach as long as the work is necessary for Yom Tov and the job is completed before midday, because the services they provide are essential for Yom Tov. Ve'eluhen, and they are hachayatim, tailors, vasaparim, barbers, vakufsin, and launderers. Now, the commentaries explain this leniency is derived from a leniency issued regarding the labor prohibition of Chol HaMoed. Tailoring, haircutting, and laundering are generally forbidden during Chol HaMoed. However, if something needs to be sewn for Yom Tov, an unskilled person may sew it in his usual manner on Chol HaMoed, as the Mishnah writes in Masechet Moed Katan, chapter 1, Mishnah 8. Similarly, one who just returned from overseas and one who has just been released from prison may cut their hair and launder their clothes on Chol HaMoed, as the Mishnah says in Masechet Moed Katan, chapter 3, Mishnah 1 and 2. Since, as we will learn in the next Mishnah, the labor laws of Erev Pesach are more lenient than those of Chol HaMoed, the sages reasoned that whatever work is permitted on Chol HaMoed, even under limited circumstances, is permitted on Erev Pesach in all circumstances. Since tailoring, haircutting, and laundering are sometimes permitted on Chol HaMoed, they are always permitted on Erev Pesach. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says, Af Haratz'anin, also shoemakers may make shoes for one who needs shoes for Yom Tov, and the commentators explain this leniency is also derived from a leniency regarding Chol HaMoed, since many Jews walked great distances in order to fulfill the commandment of appearing in the temple on Yom Tov. It is understandable that their shoes were in need of repair by the time they arrived in Yerushalayim. Therefore, Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda maintains that the rabbis allowed them to repair their shoes on Chol HaMoed. Since work on shoes is sometimes permitted on Chol HaMoed, it is permitted to even manufacture shoes on Erev Pesach before midday for one who needs shoes for Yom Tov. The sages, however, differentiate between repairing shoes and manufacturing shoes. Since it's never permitted to manufacture shoes on Chol HaMoed, it is not permitted on Erev Pesach either. And the Rav tells us, V'lecha kechachamim, the halacha follows the opinion of these sages. That is the end of Mishnah Vav. Mishnah Zayin now continues. The performance of work on both Erev Pesach after midday and on Chol HaMoed is a matter of halacha, not local custom. Nevertheless, there is a difference between them. On Erev Pesach, only activities that constitute labor are forbidden. On Chol HaMoed, activities that involve unnecessary or excessive exertion are also forbidden. So the following Mishnah discusses 3 activities that are more readily permitted on Erev Pesach than on Chol HaMoed. The first activity concerns brooding, the procedure in which a hen sits on eggs in order to promote the development of chicks and hatch them by the warmth of her body. Moshivin shovachin latarnegolim ב-14. One may place eggs under hands. Now, Rashi explains in this context, the word shovachin, which literally means coops, refers to the eggs that are placed under the hands in the coops for brooding. One may place eggs under hands on the 14th of Nisan. Since there is no labor involved in this activity, it is permitted on Erev Pesach even after midday. However, one may not place eggs under hands on Chol HaMoed because this activity involves unnecessary exertion, which is forbidden on Chol HaMoed. Although the eggs will not hatch if they are not placed under a hen, they can be eaten instead. But in the case of a hen that was sitting on eggs and then ran away, one may return her to her place even on Chol HaMoed, despite the exertion that is required to do this, because otherwise the eggs would become ruined. Now the Rav explains it is permitted to work on Chol HaMoed to prevent the loss, as the Mishnah writes in Masechet Moed Katan, chapter 1, Mishnah 1. The Mishnah speaks of a case where the hen already sat on the eggs for 3 days. At that point of the brooding process, the eggs are no longer fit for eating and can be used only for hatching chicks. Therefore, if the hen is not returned to its place to continue sitting on the eggs, the owner will suffer the loss of his eggs. The Mishnah now quotes a second activity, Golfin mitachet ragle be'emar ba'arba'asar. One may clear away dung from under an animal's feet on the 14th of Nisan after midday and take it out to the dung heap. Moed misalkin atzadin. But on Chol HaMoed, he may only sweep the dung to the side of the yard. He may not take it out to the dung heap because unnecessary exertion is forbidden on Chol HaMoed. But the Gemara does say on page 55b, if the yard is cluttered with dung and there is no room to push it aside, the dung may be taken out to the dung heap. This is a case of necessary exertion which is permitted on Chol HaMoed. The Mishnah now quotes the third activity, Molichin umvi'in kelim mi bet ha'oman. One may bring utensils to the house of a craftsman to be fixed at a later time, and retrieve utensils from the house of a craftsman on Erev Pesach after midday, afal pi she'enam metzorech hamoed, even though they are not needed for the festival. Now, unnecessary exertion which does not involve any labor is permitted on Erev Pesach, but on Chol HaMoed, when unnecessary exertion is forbidden, one may retrieve only utensils needed for Yom Tov, such as plates and cups, as the Gemara writes on page 55b with the commentary of the Meiri. And that is in Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.